Okay, so now what we're going to do in InDesign is to set up our magazine spread. So these are, excuse me, the dimensions that we put together. Now, don't mind this size of logo and typeface. Well, you might take into account some of this information. Excuse me. So these measurements were from my second years. They use the H&D1 group used the same measurements for their project. So the width is 237 and the height is 297. So if you open up InDesign, and it might look something like this. Now I'm using CS5. You guys might have, I know in the college they've got the CC version, the latest version, but it's virtually the same. Excuse me. So we want to create a new document. Okay, so we want it to be 237, and it's all in mils, 237 by 297. Now let's just go back here. The number of columns, the gutter, and the margins we're looking for. Okay, so we go with margins. So top, bottom, inside, outside is 10, 16, 14, 8. Okay, 10, 16, 14, 8. So the top, oh, okay. If I try to put 10 in here, okay, and if I just click into here, because this locked symbol is on, it makes them all 10 mil. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is turn this off. Okay, so it was 10, 16, bottom is 14, outside is 8. Top, bottom, inside, outside, is that right? Okay, no it's not. Top is 10, bottom is 16, bottom is 16, which would make the inside 14. The outside 8, let's see, outside 8. Okay, so the number of columns 3 and the gutter is 5 mils, but you don't have to have 3 columns. You could, you know, depending on, you guys drew out kind of all different ideas, and some people had 3 and some people had 4. Some people I think maybe had 2, but you know, 3 to 4 is around the normal. So I'm going to go with 3, and the gutters I'm going to make 5 mils. Okay. If you'd left the gutters at 4 point something, whatever it said there, that'd be fine. It wouldn't be the end of the world. The other thing to make sure, now it should be already turned on, is this facing pages. Okay, so make sure that's turned on, and we click OK. So this is the template for our document. Okay, so we have one page here. Now you guys are doing a double page spread. So we'll just ignore sort of page 1 here, and what we can do is if you click, see up here where it says A master, okay, make sure you're on that, and if we drag a page down and another page down here, we get our double page spread. Okay, so let me just close that up so you can see. So this is our pages little palette here. That's going to be really important to us. Okay, so here is our document here. I'm going to hit Command and minus and just zoom out a little bit on it. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is my design is going to have a big portrait photo taking up this whole right hand page. That's the design that I want to go with. You guys can copy this if you want. I think most of you are going for something like this. The portrait should be kind of predominant. I don't want, I guess, a magazine spread with a tiny little portrait kind of in the middle somewhere or over to the side and then loads of type. The portrait should be a kind of a major part of the design. So to get a picture in, we go File, Place. Okay, and we find those pictures, the pictures that I had of the monk, I need to go and find them. So it was in Closhadula Design Work, it was in Korea Monk Mag Spread and Images. Okay, which one will I go for? Okay, if I use this one, Monk Main Portrait, which is a landscape image, and I want it to fit on this portrait page, it'll probably have to be chopped off a bit at the side here. This one, Monk Thinking, is a portrait image, so that might work better. Now it does look very narrow and long, so I'll probably end up having to chop a bit off the bottom to get it to fit in here. So I might go with that one, the Monk Thinking, and let's just go open. So that's something to consider, by the way. You know, if you have a portrait that's taken in landscape orientation, in other words like this, that's something to consider. Okay, so let's go with this one, Monk Thinking, and go open. Okay, so you'll see it's sort of like a faded version of this image. I'm just going to hit Command minus quickly because I want it a little bit smaller. Okay, so what I need to do now is click up here, and if I start to drag, okay, so InDesign will keep the image proportional, so you can see the way that mine was very long and narrow that it's kind of cutting some of that off. But, you know, that's the way, there's nothing I can do about that. It's the way the photograph was taken. Okay, so now we have a photo. I'm just going to click here so you can see the photo. Now, I have a bit of an issue here insofar as I want to shift this photo up a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on, let me just move this up a little bit like that even. Okay, I'm just going to make this box a little bit smaller. Not narrower, I want to keep it the same width. And let's put it down. Let's go a little bit smaller. Okay, I want the box to fit on this page. Like that. Okay. Now, the issue I have is that she's sort of tucked down the corner here. I want her face more kind of in the middle of this page here. Kind of up and around here. I haven't put guidelines in. I showed just how to put 1/3 rules in. Actually, let's do that now. So the height of our page is 297. So I know that 1/3 of 297 is 99. So if I want to put rules in, if I click up here where the ruler is. Now, if the ruler isn't on, if you go view, see, okay, hide ruler. So if it looks like that and you don't have your rulers, if you go up to view and where we show rulers, or it's command or on a Mac or control or on a PC. So I need a guide to be at 99. So let's start to click and drag down here. And you can see I'm at 38, 68, 73, 82. Now get it as close to 99 as you can. 99, okay, 99.25. I'm going to go with that. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, and let's drag another one down here. Okay, 2 times 99 is 198, isn't it? Okay, so I need another one at 198. Now you did this in class for me, but just if you're starting again from scratch, this is how we do it. Okay. So now what I have is, zoom out again. I'm thinking that it would be nice to have her face and maybe the middle of her face kind of maybe like around her nose kind of here. Because it's at the one, it's halfway down here and it's also at 1/3 here. Okay. Now the other thing you might do is I'm just going to click on this picture. This picture box is exactly the same width as this page. So see that little kind of cube thing there for making this bigger and smaller? That's exactly the middle of the page. So I'm going to click, just because I don't have to measure then. So that's exactly the middle of the page there. I might kind of get the bridge of her nose roughly around here. Okay. The other thing I could do is, there's this concept called the visual center, which is, let's just measure. So this here is the center of the page. The visual center is just off center. Kind of here. So maybe her face could kind of be within this space. Okay, we'll make that decision. We'll start moving this around. So there's 2 tools in InDesign. There's this tool, the selection tool, which is for basically moving this box around. Okay, and then this tool, the direct selection tool, if I click on it, is for moving the image around within this box. Okay, so there's a difference. Now you'll see if I go back to the direct selection tool and click on it, the edge of this box is, I don't know if you can see it there, it's kind of like it has a blue outline on it. When I click on this direct selection tool, if I click on the image, can you see you get an orange outline? Okay, it comes all the way down here. That's the edge of the image of the photograph. Okay, so what I can do is I can start to move her up. Now this is where we have to start making a decision. If I move her face and I want her nose, say, to sit right there on the 1/3 line. See the way I'm missing? There's a bit of a gap there. Okay, can you see that? So what I need to start doing now is make this picture a little bit bigger to fit in, to cover that space. So I need to hold down Shift and just drag it. I'm going to just make it a little bit bigger and let's just drag. So this is just where you're playing off, kind of scaling and moving. Okay, let's see. Am I happy with that? Okay, that's not bad. I quite like that because her face is, rather than it being down here, it's sort of sitting within that nice 1/3 space there. Okay, so sometimes it can get confusing in InDesign when you see all these guides up because there's all purple lines everywhere. So if I go, okay, there's a few ways of doing it. If I come down here, see down, there's kind of options here, normal, preview, bleed, slug, presentation. If I go preview, that kind of turns them all off. So I'm happy with the position of that. I quite like the colours on it. Let's go back to normal. Okay, now the most important thing, save. File, save as. And the next most important thing is where you save it. You can't just save it anywhere you like. You have to go and save it in the same folder. Where are we? Korea Monk Mag Spread. Not in the images folder, just in this folder here. Okay, and we keep the .indd and we'll call this something like that. Okay, so that's it for now for putting images in. Same applies for, let's say, if I decided, let's go file, place, where is it? Place, T aerial shot, let's go with that. Let's say I wanted that, I don't know, let's say I wanted it, say here. Let's move that down. Zoom in a little bit. Okay, might do something like that. It's not exactly fitting in there, but it's okay. And let's save that. I just hit Command S. Once I have the document saved, I can just keep hitting Command S or Control S on a PC and it'll save. So that's it for putting images in. The next video will show you guys how to put type in. So yeah, we've made a pretty good start on that, I think.